This is AI as fuck.
I'm actually so curious about what you do, um, and how things have been going. So, with Talentless, and I mean, you're putting yourself as an AI first agency, so that's interesting to me. Um, it's how is that going so far?
It's been up and down, right? Like there is a sense to me that I don't necessarily. I've seen like founders building in public, and I kind of had started down that path of being like a founder in a SaaS kind of thing, and I realized that culture is so weird and messed up that I don't know if I didn't have the right value prop or the right conversation to talk about what we wanted to do. Like I had set out with this idea that you could automate content creation. That was it.
Right.
And you actually, I put my own money in. We built a prototype. It was like a thing, and I mean, now like that was 3 years ago. And now you could just go into Claude and basically do what we had set up. So,
Really?
I look at what you had built with Word Studio as being ahead of the time as well.
Hmm.
You know,
They it's funny, that such a basic thing, and it felt basic at the time, and I thought, "Surely that's not a big deal," um, and it's not, but I thought it was cool, and I could do it at the time, and over this it's been pretty much unchanged over the last couple of years, but it does have users, and it does make a little money, and it works. But it's I kind of almost like took my limitations, the limitations of my of coding abilities and the features and everything like that, and I started like psyching my. It was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where I thought, well, maybe if it doesn't have features, there's value to that. Maybe if it, so I kind of went down that road and thought, well, maybe there's a certain group of users who don't like the bells and whistles and don't need all of that stuff. And there are. I think there are. It's like simplicity.
what was the process to get there? What inspired it?
Well, when I first fired up ChatGPT in November 2022 or something like that, and it came out and it was available to the public, the first thing I did was, do the standard stuff like, can you write a poem? Can it write a an article? And then you see it spit out an article, and you're just, to me, I mean, growing up and just working on everything creative I could get into and trying to get paid for it, of course. Um, from the text thing alone was so mind-blowingly cool that I thought, I just couldn't get enough of it. So I was throwing everything I could at it and having so much fun with it. And then I wrote a parody, like a little fun parody country song, with my friend's name in it. I think I did it it was when I did it for my kid, which is what most of the things I do is for, just to make funny jokes. And when I wrote a song, well, when it wrote the song based on my prompt, I was like, well, that's hilarious and fun, and in fact, the first Word Studio tool was the country music. There's a country lyrics writer, and it was the field said enter a name, the person you want to write the song for, and then what do they do, or what are they into, some hobby that they have, and it would just write the song about them and about their hobby, and that was it. And I thought, oh, you could do this for anybody. And so uh, I sent the song to someone. What is this? People were still blown away, like, whoa, how'd you do that? And it was just like, well, it's just available right now. Anybody can use it. But that was too much, that, hold on a second. I'm not going to go download that and start messing with that. Well, what do you do? We'll just tell it to do. And That's not worth it. So I thought, well, what if you just had a field where you just enter the name and then enter the thing about them and then push the button and then out comes the country song and then I could share it with people. That was the whole idea. So, and I think it still stands. Like we're lazy and we're really lazy. People will only get lazier, and maybe the novelty will wear off, and it has. Like that's no longer impressive. It's like it's just ChatGPT. Um, but there's certain, it's there's something still to it, and you can still make it better and better. It's because the models get better, and then also my prompt on the other side gets better. So all I am is the GPT wrapper, but in a form. That's it. So it's no more, no less.
So you were like Suno before Suno was cool without the
Right.
music. Yeah.
Couldn't actually make the music yet. Now I do love experimenting with Suno. I use all of the things. I mean, I use everything I can get my hands on. And Suno was a very special thing when I found it. And it was Udio first, then
Yep.
Suno kind of passed it up in terms of quality. Um, so
I
yeah,
still
there's
go
something to
back
talk about
to
there as well.
I still go back to stable audio if I'm doing like instrumental music. If I need like a soundtrack or a bed or an audio bed, like it does exactly what you need. If you need that background music for a video or something, it's very
Yeah.
good at that stock music kind of vibe.
That changed everything for that. I mean, I do a lot of videos for companies, and um, not having to go and look for a song now, and just generate it is game changing because for a lot of different reasons. But I love the fact that you can make the same, you can find the same style and use it for multiple tracks. A lot of great productions usually have more than one music track in there, and you have transitions. And if everything's kind of uniform, usually you would have to look for packs and stems. And if you're lucky, somebody made a pack or a stem, or you can make it yourself. But I'm not a musician like that. But you could do packs or stems. Now you make your own, and it's just amazing how many things you can do with just that, and how that just changed everything. You can, um, and then there's the cost associated with it. So quality and cost.
Cost, yeah.
It's great.
The first time I felt dirty using AI was actually on Suno. Like when I first got a Suno song out of there and the quality was so good, I'm like, I feel like I have put a musician out of work. Like I feel like this was so good. Like that was the most one-to-one relationship I thought between the stolen content that the model was built on and the actual output. But since then, I've kind of come around. Actually, I had a conversation, and I won't name a name, but I had a conversation with a multi-Grammy award-winning artist who is all over Suno, and he loves Suno, and he's building stems and he's testing. Like he's using Suno as a playground before he goes into the real studio. I never would have thought of a musician using that as part of their process, but now it is, right? It's just another tool in the arsenal.
Right. If you go crate digging, I mean, a lot of it's built on samples. You know, they're taking other people's work and looping it. Sure, they're getting rights, and hopefully someone's getting a royalty. But even the person making the music has still been. I mean, we know the story behind that. How their income, every musician's income kind of dropped, and you had the record companies getting involved, and basically at the end of the day, they take home very little of the final piece. So, um, but as far as like if you were a musician and you just want to experiment with loops and samples, and that's got to be like a gold mine. It's like a candy store. Um, I don't have strong, you know, as far as the whole putting someone out of work, that's such a divisive topic. but I'm in work too. I put together things, and we came from a I came from a place where, you know, when I looked for assets, I'm buying other people's assets through, but I would also go to places like Creative Commons.
Hmm.
And the reason they put those things out there, I mean, when I was really didn't have any money to spend on projects, I was cutting costs anywhere I could, but you would attribute to the person. And I don't know if they got anything out of that. I'm not sure if they did. I did a whole documentary with completely Creative Commons licenses that put it on Amazon, and they have their name in the credits, but I don't know where I put. You put the link wherever you can, but
Yeah.
it's whether or not that person benefited from that. I don't know.
It goes to like the it's not like AI is disrupting a just and fair industry, right? Like if musicians were getting screwed before AI, Suno may be screwing musicians in a different way, but what I think really ends up at stake is this weird battle between the old musical corporate interests and the new musical corporate interests. And so the artists in the middle are just sort of whatever, six of one, half dozen or another. We're really arguing about corporate profits as opposed to the individual creator.
I asked myself, like, I've shot videos before for the last 20 years, and I put them on YouTube. And if YouTube took a piece of my video and it was trained to make another video out of it, I mean, I guess I could complain that, well, they used my videos without my consent to generate this landscape shot. How much did I contribute? I don't know. How much am I owed? I don't know. I think that I think that the benefits that I get from the technology that exists through the brilliant minds that somehow made this work, um, is a benefit to me, that and is also going to be a benefit hopefully to mankind for for time, as time moves on. And so if it wasn't me, it might have been someone else, but data is used to train. My data was part of that. um, Who's got the claim? I don't know. We all do. Humanity has the claim to the data. If you never made a song in your life and recorded it online, you wouldn't really have a claim to it. But I made video. Does that give me a free pass? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's just a sticky topic. The whole thing is nobody's going to stop doing it because it's incredible, amazing, otherworldly technology. And if I'm going to stop doing it out of principle, then I'd be putting myself at an extreme disadvantage going forward in the creative world. I could just go raw and just do it the old fashioned way. Maybe I just get rid of Photoshop. Maybe I just shoot on film. I don't know. Um,
That's a great question, man. Like the truly analog artist, right? Go carve stuff out of mud.
which is awesome.
Which yeah, it's very respectable.
Yeah,
I
I wasn't prepared to talk about that because that scares me, honestly. I don't want to, I have a fear of, like, that was actually at the beginning. I didn't want to put my name out there that I even dabble, because you see you would, if you spend enough time on the internet looking at comments and stuff, it's like people are very against it, and
yeah.
to the point to where it starts to feel like a little uh, threatening, just to put something out there. Um, yeah,
I've felt that, man. I mean, just and it's the people who think they're smart that they've identified. They're like, this is AI slop. I'm like, and like, what about all the human slop? Like, I look at like influencer content and like TikTok dances and things, and I know a lot of people put a lot of work into that, and there's some of it's very, very good, and I respect that part of it. But a lot of it is not. Like a lot of it is just derivative, boring human slop, and nobody calls them slop. Just the fact that they happen to have a camcorder to record themselves dancing doesn't mean that's not slop either, right? Like what? What's good is not
True
necessarily.
definition of flop. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
poorly executed dance moves.
yeah, yeah.
Or better,
And
or great dance moves. I don't like watching people dance personally.
no, no. And honestly, like there is a lot of bad AI stuff out there, right? And I know I probably put some bad and some good. I mean, there's some stuff I'm proud of. What's crazy to me is the volume over time. Like there's stuff I've done that I've forgotten. Like it moves so fast that I don't even know what's out there. But I remember seeing, yeah, when we first met, I remember seeing the beautiful little short film that you had made. Like how much are you using AI for corporate versus artistic purposes today?
I wish that I could use AI for artistic purposes today. The only I just it's the time and then the choice of what to pursue. I have a lot of half completed things that seemed fun at the beginning, and then the real reality sets in where I'm like, wait a second, this is going to need a lot more time to make it something worth sharing, especially
Yeah,
with my name on it. Um, the I use a lot of AI for my work because there's some obvious things. I use voiceover that's been
yeah,
really production ready for a while now, and it's only going to get better. Then you have music, of course, and then I've been experimenting with visuals and graphics and motion graphics. That I had a client that sent me. It wasn't me that made it, but they sent me an animated logo of their new product that was made by one of their in-house people that just put it into and I don't even remember which one he used, but it was beautiful. It revealed itself. It was 1080p and it was sharp and clean and it was awesome and they loved it. Who was I? I just put it into my video. He sent me the file and I thought, well, here we are. The logo, every piece of it can be a component, can be used. The personal project I made, which is so embarrassing, that I don't really put it out there. I put it on. I made a whole album of music, and the idea was, I thought about how well my kids were trying to remember things for school, like how well specifically it was poetry, and I thought, well, I can remember so many like songs from my childhood and just my teenage years, and I can recite songs uh, from those times. And I was like, what if you replace that with Shakespeare? What if you replace that with something educational? Like people like learn the 50 states. There was some. I mean, Animaniacs put out like a whole album of educational songs, just teaching people about different things. And then there was Schoolhouse Rock before that, and I thought, well, shoot, this is the perfect time to start creating like a Schoolhouse Rock kind of production. And so, and I was like, what am I going to do with it? I did some Texas history songs, and some history songs, like biography based songs. But then I thought, one of the things that I kind of got into in the last 10 years is like finance and financial literacy. I've learned myself a lot of things about interest and investments and things like that, stuff I was digging into. And I thought, well, what if you made a rap album, but instead of talking about spending, it was talking about saving, you know? And so I started there, and I made a whole, and over a summer, it was last summer, I sat there in the middle of the night because this is the only time I can actually work on stuff like that because it doesn't make money and it's not involved playing with my children. So I was like, well, I'm going to do it. So I built this. I gave the persona a name. This name is Compound Stacks. It's a rapper. He's not me, he's Compound Stacks. And this first album is called Cash Flow Chronicles Volume 1. And then each song is like one song talks nothing about it. It just lists all the things people get into debt from. Another song is about what a Roth IRA is and how it's different from a traditional IRA. And another one is about it puts payday loan places on blast. It's like talking about how it's just a terrible idea to get a payday loan. I've done that before. I got a payday loan back in the day, and it was a very bad decision. Um, so it's got 12 tracks. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. Yeah, it's nobody listens to it.
Does it get listens? Okay, I was gonna say, does it get picked up? Like,
It was on SoundCloud for a while, and it had a few thousand listens. Just one of the tracks really took off. It was just about different investment vehicles, like, and this is base. It's like basic stuff, but honestly, a lot of people, especially young people, maybe in their 20s, they're just kind of starting out with their jobs and stuff. It could be beneficial, like, and they jam. Honestly, like, I like them. And I started writing them with the AI, and then, but it was funny because as I went through that process, I was like, well, this isn't good enough. And so I would rewrite each line, and I'd like need something, and I'd get a bunch of ideas and just going back and forth. But some of them just became pretty, I would say I got started with it, and I would just edit like crazy until I just thought it was the best possible it could be. And then you put it into Suno, and you get instant gratification. It's like it puts it into the song, and you're like, well, actually that line sounds cool on paper, but when you rap it, it's not cool at all. Or there's how many bars should go into it, like how many verses before you get to a chorus, and then when does the bridge come in. And that was a awesome learning process because I was, if you only do two verses and then go to the chorus and then two more verses and then go to the chorus, it's actually not enough verses to satisfy a real rap enthusiast like myself. So and then getting consistent sound, like this has a soulful, like, it has a lot of like soul sampling. I mean, I really like The Alchemist, like that producer. I was trying to like mimic that a little bit, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I found my style and just went for it. So that's been out there, and it doesn't do anything. I accomplished it. I put it out there.
yeah.
Now what? What do I stand to benefit? I don't know, but I made it, and I'm happy about that.
Well, and to that point, right, the education of it, like to a certain extent, I almost view the last 2 or 3 years as just education. Like even now, like I feel like I've kind of learned enough now where it's time to ratchet up this knowledge into something that's a little more productive. But we just watched we went and watched there's a new Elvis thing. Elvis Presley in concert is in the theaters, and I knew Elvis as an idea, but I never really knew Elvis as a performer and as that, right? And it's that when you see that behind the scenes, what it takes to write a song, what it takes to do some of these tasks. I mean, it's eye opening, right? Like in my head, I'm like, I'm a writer. I feel like I can write a song. Sure, I can write a song, but have I? Right? It's once you get into it, it does sort of illuminate, like, okay, and people who maybe you wouldn't think of as being skilled are going to be able to pick up AI and do some skilled things with it, right? Like it does sort of accelerate that, so you can see, like, is this something I'm actually good at? Is AI actually enhancing my own powers or masking my flaws?
Yeah.
But I love that you had the wherewithal and the stick to itiveness to finish that whole album. Right? Like most
Well,
people,
I got fed up with myself because if you tell someone that you're doing something, you get this little dopamine hit, and it's
yeah,
like you get that satisfaction, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm a genius. I decided to make an educational rap album. I'm so brilliant. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, isn't that cool?
there's got to be a
Yeah, I'm
market
over
for that
there. Well,
somewhere.
can I listen to it? Oh, not yet. It's not quite done. I still have a few more tracks I have to make. I need to make the album cover, which that was also very cool. to be able to put it into distribution, that you it's not like there's a little barrier to entry there. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of work, but you do have to have an album cover. You do have to add the
Yeah.
lyrics. You do need to have your who produced it, who wrote it, who did all, which was another whole how do you put that? Who wrote it? Was it Carson?
Yeah.
Was it AI? Was it both? Who was the production company? You have to have all that stuff for them to actually distribute it.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for Amazon movies and putting things on any kind of streaming platform, except for maybe YouTube. But if you're going to collect money for it, it's you got to have all your ducks in a row. And then when it came to the release, the licensing, it's like, well, it's like upload documentation that proves that you are the verified owner of this content. I was like, well, I know I'm the verified owner because this content didn't exist before.
Mhm.
Well, what does that look like? What does the record company provide? Just go over there to the AI and say, well, I want to distribute my album. I need a document that says this stuff, and you can generate that. And it is to go pop it into a PDF and sign the bottom, and poof, you've verified your own creation. That's just such an interesting process, and I'm glad I went through that because now I know what it takes to get something online. And it's not much, but it's something.
I like that. I mean, if I post, like, I just did a short film that was on, I posted on Higgsfield because Higgsfield had this amazing contest. It's like the best funded short film contest I've ever seen. It's like $500,000 in the winning pot for a short film, right? Which
Yeah, I
doesn't.
think I heard about that. Yeah, that sounded cool.
It was like, so I'm like, but at the end, it's like, okay, I'm taking writing credit, even though I used Claude and GPT. I'm taking directing credit because I put all the pieces together, and then I just had like the made with section, with all the different tools that I plugged in, which was mostly Kling, I think. Kling and Sora. I love Sora for whatever. It's so inconsistent, but so beautiful sometimes. Like, you talk about the animations, like I'm using like Sora for 3D animations and things like that. So
Love
yeah,
it.
it's like, and you begin to see like a lot of the AI creators out there, they don't have the story. Like, there's aspects of this that people are just not going to pick up everything. Like, it's hard to be the writer and the producer and the director and the prompter and the AI actor wrangler, like whatever those things are. You start to see that some creators are better than others, and a lot of them have no basic writing skills, story skills, like that basic that creative thing that enables you to put together something that actually makes sense. So they can make really cool car crashes and things, but they can't. Whatever, I've seen it now. Like, it's slop now.
Hmm. I got to go to the AI last year. They had an AI film festival in Austin
Mhm.
AI Film Festival. Did you go to that? I don't remember if I saw you there. No, I don't think I did. It was Matisse who put on the creative meetup that we met at. And that was at the end of watching all of those films, which was a ton, and it was painful. Not that nobody. It was there was definitely great stuff to see, and it was a lot of eye candy. But that's really where it ended. It was like there was a few standouts that really blew me away. The AI or die people do really creative stuff, and then a couple more that I can't remember. But yeah, it was like how many space alien ships, how many cyborgs do you see before it just is like tiresome? And it turns out not very many. After a few cyborgs, you're just like, okay, I got that. You got a beautiful, intricate looking robot cyborg android. Cool, very cool. But now what? It's like this is terrible. Like cliche. But you can't expect someone to be good at everything. So since you have
No,
one person sitting there doing the story, the prompt, everything like that, and they're probably technical types, like computer
yeah,
people that these are the people who are interested in AI right now. And so it's like you're gonna get you're gonna get the subject matter that they're interested in, sci-fi. maybe a little bit of fantasy, and then you won't get any good dramas or anything like that. And plus the limitations of AI, like you can't really have good dialogue
Yeah.
exchanges. But nobody ever thinks like, there's this thing called like ADR where you can actually record a real actor's voice and put it into the like it's like there was all these generated voices, but we didn't have to do that. It's like all
Yeah.
AI or no, it's
People don't. I mean, I look at. I don't have the. I don't know anything about After Effects, right? Like I don't know any of the traditional production tools. I mean, I know their names, but I don't
Mhm.
know how to use it. And I think that's where a lot of the filmmakers are coming from. Like, they didn't even think of that.
Mhm.
They didn't think about ADR as kind of a tool. So you have this weird gap of skills that I think will accelerate. I think a lot more filmmakers are now taking steps to being a little more AI inspired.
Oh, for sure.
What I do love about your path as well is because I had done this a few times with my kids are old now, but my grandkids, right? My grandson's like 7, and his brother's like 3, and I like taking photos of them and putting dinosaurs in it to eat them.
I've totally done that. I've totally done that. We're Yes, exactly. Um, Doing stuff for my kids has been that's the muse, really. Like, because they're the only ones I can really show it to. Um,
Yeah,
and it's funny how unimpressed they are, which gives you a lot of like insight. Um, it's like they
yeah.
saw, like, I was showing him stuff, my son and my daughter. I was showing them things like at the bleeding edge, and I was like, "Look at this! Can you believe it?" And I got a couple of like good reactions at the very beginning, but my second one I showed them, oh, that's cool, but it's no different than anything else. To them, I might as well I could have done the whole thing using VFX and 3D rendering, and I could have made that dinosaur from scratch, hand sculpted it. It wouldn't have been any better or any different in terms of the final, you know, reaction than yeah. So
They- I mean, I look at what my grandson watches on YouTube, right? And he's watching the gamers, right? He's watching people play Minecraft.
mhm.
I'm just like, what? Like he'll sit there forever and just watch people play Zelda and Minecraft. I'm just like, what?
I mean, I would put a serious I would actually intervene in that situation because I what I've been reading lately has just been so gut just gut punched. I've been gut punched by this whole trend of like how kids are growing up on cell phones, and it's just doing so much to their psychological damage with this instant gratification thing, which leads into AI, but that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, I noticed like Twitch, it's like they're just sitting there watching other people play. You're not even playing yourself. You're watching
Yeah.
other people play. That's wild. I don't get it. That's
No,
okay.
I don't get it either. I mean, I look back at, I feel like I grew up in front of the TV. Like, feel like my parents just sat me in front of the TV, right? So, like, Schoolhouse Rock, like, you'll be dead. Name a sitcom, right? Like, we all can, like, we all were like raised on the sitcoms, but it's just the intensity of it. It's so intense to have that in your face all the time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, the new thing I've heard about too, like, so I've just started like Claude coding, which I don't really code, but I've seen a few TikToks where people are talking about the addictive nature of that coding process
Mm.
because you're sitting there, you're like, oh, I have an idea for a feature. I have another idea for a feature. I have another idea for a feature. And before you know it, you're just sitting there watching Claude and you're getting that gratification as it brings your ideas to life, which is like, what? Like, what to do with that?
I mean, that's funny. The very first um that was one of my first experimentations with Claude Code, other than like trying to do web based stuff. Like the games thing was, uh, all of my AI experimentation when I get a new, I always do. My son's really into the Alamo. He really connected with it. We've watched all the movies. He loves Davy Crockett. It all started with that, and he's just a frontier kind of fan, and I just love that. But so every single thing I make is like Davy Crockett or Alamo related. I'm like, that's the first thing I'm going to try. Can I make a scene where Davy Crockett walks into the Alamo, or William Travis draws a line in the sand? Everything I do is Alamo related because it's like untapped. There's like nobody talking about the Alamo anymore, yet it's such a significant event, at least for Texas. Carries a little Texas pride with it. So, and my son is a huge fan, so it's like, so I tried. I was like, Claude, um, create an Alamo game, and I had a nice little prompt about the how it would work, and it was the top down view. And I don't know gaming terminology like I should. In fact, I went and learned a little bit of that later after the first iteration. But that first game that popped out, well, it didn't work. I pushed the button and it didn't work, and I go back and I say, fix it, and it fixed it, and it worked. And I just was that we played it. He played it. He fell in love with it. It's terrible. It's a fun little game. It's really hard, but he spent quite a bit of time on that thing. And I said, and I was tucking him in, and I was like, he's like, can anybody play that? I said, can we send it to my cousins? And I was like, I got to get it online. And so I just got a domain and I just drug the folder onto it, and poof, we have alamobattle.com. Check it out. You can go play right now.
I will be there. Well, and it's
I love
nice
getting it into the world, like just packaging it, doing it, and getting it done, and then it's out there.
I mean, it's and you know, the big gaming companies are designing the algorithms to keep kids around, and you've got, you know, predators lurking in the chat rooms of Fortnite, right? So even just to have a game that you control, and you know that, you know, there's no
True.
nefarious interest like plugging into that. It's kind of something.
You know. Luckily, my kid has he has like a appreciation for the vintage. So it's like having the basic, like blocky graphics are enough for him.
I think Texas history is so I'm a carpetbagger, right? Like I just got down here 3 or 4 years ago to Texas, but we have spent some time there at the Blanton. What is the Texas Museum? The big Texas Museum.
Bullock,
the
Bob
Bullock.
Bullock's history.
Yeah. I get the Bullock mixed up with the Blanton. And the Bullock, I was like, I learned so much, but there's a whole thing in there, and I forget the guy, but they have like a monologue from one of the guys at the Alamo, and it was fine. It was fine, but you could tell some video team in maybe like 87 put it together. And I
bet it was Travis' speech. I bet it was his letter. William Travis sent a letter, and it's victory or death.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think we could redo that. I think
I'm already on it. I'm already. That's my domain.
I mean, I think even AI actors and AI recreations would be much more believable even than what they did.
Well, what's weird is we went and visited. Well, we've been there quite a few times now, but the last time we went to the Alamo, they had displays up on the board, and they were computer graphics that were probably made in the late, or maybe in the early 2000s, but they were okay. They were video game-ish. But my son goes, AI. He points to it and says AI, and I was like, that's actually not AI. That's someone actually built all that stuff. But just the shoddiness of something kind of this signals to him that's what AI looks like.
That's what
is. It's just wild, because that's what we're building to. Like, these will be the future. These are our children, our future. You know, to quote Michael Jackson. But he's like,
I mean, yeah, it's so interesting to me to look, right. Like my mom didn't start texting until she was like 70 or something, and my dad jumped into the internet, and my dad is upset because his like entire war record is not in AI. Like he's asked AI, hey, what did what did Gerald Mudd do in the war? And it's just not in there. ChatGPT didn't train itself on my dad's war records
It's a shame of all the things.
of all the things. So I'm like, now I just need to write a blog about my dad, and then it'll show up in the AI in the future. But I
Yeah.
mean, I can't imagine this world of we started from the point of no cell phones, right? So eventually we get cell phones. So you get like cell phone natives and digital natives, and now AI natives. Like, how do you grow up in a world where that intelligence is just at your fingertips at all times? Like, creative power is at your fingertips at all times. Like, and I know the schools probably haven't caught up, to teaching Luma and Suno or Runway or whatever tool it is, but at some point they will, and so kids will just know how to. What will they make, right? Like, what will you make when you can make anything?
It's true. Then that's the dilemma, right? I think of it as like you have before you had you have ideas. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you did this, and wouldn't it be cool if you did that, or what if there was a game, or what if there was an app, or a movie about this thing, and then but there's all these barriers to getting it into the world, and so there's a scarcity of executed finished ideas that people can go and watch and see and play with and stuff. And of course our time is limited too, and our resources to make the thing, and our skills, because I'm not an actor and I'm not going to act in my own movie. I'd have to recruit people and pay them and all this stuff. So it's like it's all those barriers, and imagine if all those get torn down and you can speak your world into existence, and anything that you just pops into your head in the shower can be finished by that night. um, that makes you think about, okay, so if everybody has the power and they put it out there, they can imagine this future world where they can do that, and it's satisfying. It's like, that's done, it's finished. And I've had this weird story or this cool novel concept, and it's now out there. And if everybody has the ability to do that, then naturally there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff out there. And right now we call it slop, um, because the ideas are not that great, and they're just like, and they're not, and they're pieces of an idea. It's like you, it still takes some skill to take a bunch of shots, edit them together, add a music bed, add some natural sound and dialogue and written dialogue and all that stuff. You can't depend completely on AI to make good dialogue. You can't, even the music, if you just say music for movie, you're dead. But it's just going to be cliche after cliche. So the bar is risen that everybody can meet baseline. So now baseline is crap. And then so but now we have to, like, it's like the ideas are scarce.
Yeah.
The good ideas become scarce, because I don't know if anyone else thought of a financial literacy album, but the difference is, um, the person to finish, to do it, to execute it, and possibly market it. Someone could come out with
Yeah.
one tomorrow and then throw a bunch of money behind it and and maybe it goes viral in some circle or something and becomes the de facto album of financial literacy. But
you become the schoolhouse
damn,
rock of the new era.
yeah, it's going to be some other guy, and that'll be okay because he probably put more into it than I would. Like, he valued it enough to promote it, to stick with it.
Yeah.
I was talking to my photographer. I work out of a studio, and he's a photography studio that we have members and everything. It's called Photo Group here in Austin, and the person who runs this place he's a photography instructor going all the way back to the film days, and he taught at a very prestigious film. And he's just, you know, everybody is talking about, like, what's the future of my job? What's photography anyway? Why is it important to teach about all the concepts anymore if you can just get to the end without knowing any of it? And it's just a constant conversation that's been happening over the last few years, and there's no conclusions that have been made yet that I can see. Um,
It's,
Just
I mean,
wild.
there's what's interesting to me is just this language about everything, and I think you have the language of your craft that you've built up over the years and that you understand. I can replicate that in a prompt, but not really, right? Like I'm still faking it. So I may not have the reservoir of language. Like it's not even necessarily the skills, but just understanding the full vocabulary of what it is that you do. And that becomes a limitation. So like these filmmakers don't have the right vocabulary to finish what it is that they want to do. So how do we teach what gets that gets me excited because that means we should be teaching vocabulary and we should be teaching language and we should be teaching poetry
Hmm.
out there. Right? Do you know about adversarial poetry?
No, what is that?
Look this up later. This is great. So what they figured out, some university did a study as to how do you circumvent the guardrails in the AI models? Poetry.
Mm.
If you like, so I was able to put some poems into Sora, and I was able to kill myself in there, right?
Ah,
Or,
I can,
or to have a death scene. Let's,
because it's art at that point, right?
yeah, yeah,
Or it's a way to, yeah, it's like it's the same word combination, but somebody who's building the guardrails didn't know that that was what the language model learned as death. That's interesting.
exactly. So you could prompt your way around it, and they were able to use that same technique um, to actually get around even the most like the LLMs are supposed to be able to tell you, if you ask how to build a nuclear weapon, it won't tell you, or how to build a chemical weapon, it won't tell you. But if you ask it poetically, it will.
Right.
They haven't figured out a way around it. So a little iambic pentameter, little Shakespeare. It actually, I've tested it. It's kind of fun.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
the more they think they understand it, the more they really don't. Like they've created this language machine that the engineers are in charge of, but us creators who have poetic skills might be able to do more with it than everybody can imagine.
It's true. And that's being able to describe something is a skill. It doesn't seem like one. And to say prompt engineering is like almost laughable, just but it's not. I don't think it's laughable at all. I think it's actually important, and it's going to continue to be important because you have to know the language, and if you don't know the language, you ask about the language, and then
Yeah,
have it teach you. But
yeah,
like I said, people are lazy and they don't have the curiosity to go down that road. So as soon as they hit a roadblock, I'm not saying, I say people. It's not the people. It's not the people listening to this. It's the other
yeah.
people. But anyway, the the I just noticed this. I have people I talk to, and some people just don't have the curiosity.
Yeah.
And just creating I don't know anything about music. I didn't before. I know how to play the guitar, but I didn't know about the construction of a song. And even in filmmaking, there's certain shots, a tracking shot versus a pan, all that stuff is still like, I'm not the master. But it's just a search, a Google search or a AI input away to have the entire language spelled out for you, and there's no excuse. Um but will someone do it? Only the few and the proud
Only if
will
you,
traverse those areas.
yeah, there's creators and consumers for sure. Like I hang out with a lot of people who consume more than they create. I'm at the point where I think I create more than I consume.
Yeah, that's I was showing my friend the new Notebook LM audio overviews where you can interrupt. And
What?
if you
I
see,
haven't heard about that one yet.
oh, it's been out for a while. Well, I was back into Notebook LM based on their new cinematic video creation capability that they added, the cinematic style, which was like a huge upgrade from which was already awesome, the previous video overviews. So I uploaded the book of the Bible, Ecclesiastes, And I had made a regular video overview last year with Notebook LM, and it explained it in such a beautiful way. It was just not beautiful, but educational.
Mhm.
It took beautiful writing, and it explained it in plain English and explored all the areas of it. And it was very educational, probably like a 10-minute long video. Put in the new cinematic mode, and it was the same but better. And I was like,
Mm.
and I thought, and my whole career flashed before my eyes again, like it does every week. And I'm just like, whoa, what are the possibilities here? Who needs this right now? What could be done with this? Anyway, we were just looking at that, and I thought, and then we went back to the audio overviews, and I said, oh, yeah, I generated this one last year. This is a podcast. We knew the podcast, right? Where the two people talk and they sound like
Yeah.
NPR. Uh, Wish you could change the voices on those, but either way, um, you can interrupt it in the middle of they could be talking, and you can hit
Mhm.
your microphone button, and you can say, hey guys, I was just curious about what you just said, and can we explore this? And they'll say, that's a good idea, Carson. Blah blah blah. We just went over this and this and this, and let's talk about that a little bit. So you can talk to them. And my friend was like, oh my gosh, that is that's the wildest thing I've ever seen. And then I thought, well, that's probably going to be the future there. You're going to be driving in your car, listening to the radio, and you're going to be able to talk to the people on the radio like you're just part of the whole conversation. Everybody's a call in. If you're into that kind of thing, that's crazy. And who's to say it's not going to happen with video and everything else? Video games, it's a video game.
It's
So
it's
much better.
coming. I mean, I for a minute, the tech wasn't quite ready, but I had an AI avatar of myself. And in fact, probably the next iteration of this podcast will be that version of me, where the podcast is just the interviewer is just AI Steve asking smart questions
In real time.
in real time. There's a little bit of a lag now, so it's a little bit choppy, but yeah, I haven't played with that note. I think Notebook LM is probably one of my favorite tools in AI right now. Like you can just do so. I do so much work in LM right now.
Do you?
Um,
I I know that it's powerful. I don't use it quite enough, and because I'm always looking for the application of what to do with it. And I'm pretty scatterbrained because it's the next shiny object. I'm like, okay, this
yeah,
is the project. That's the project. I got hundreds of like how to
hundred
start.
hundreds of things. Well, you just nailed it, though, man. It's you find the stories of the Bible that inspire you, or whatever, right? Or the stories of Texas. Use Notebook to just make them put up a YouTube channel and see what people think. Like that to me, like if you did a 10 video series on
Mhm.
Ecclesiastes or on Texas or something, and just try it. I've had the same thing. Like I'm like, okay, what am I gonna like? Wait, I have a client in the environmental space, so we made some environmental educational videos out of there, and they're great. But
Yeah.
it's like some of those videos, God, they got to be better than, especially for kids, right? Like give me the kid cinematic video of Ecclesiastes or the kid video of the Alamo, and they're not super pretty, but they're something to put out.
I think about maybe 10 years from now, though, and I'm like, if, the trajectory keeps going in this direction, and that's possible, what we're making right now is going to feel and look, it's almost going to be a nostalgic thing in and of itself. It's going to say
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, look at some of this early AI slop that and it's almost going to have a nostalgic appeal to it. Having six
Six
fingers and
fingers.
stuff is already quaint to us now. It's like, oh, that's funny. Like their body twisted into a weird position, and it's like at first it was like really disturbing, and then we got used to it. I mean, and then what's coming out now is probably going to be similar to that. So it's like the long term is like, and long term is now short term. It's
Yeah,
going to be
next
within
week.
my lifetime that it's going to be completely silly. And then I think about, okay, what is what are the big companies, you know, they're like learning by like us doing the stuff. Like they're trying to figure out where those market fits are so they can squeeze every last penny out of it so they can automate the process of the creativity.
Yeah.
And you know, what's to stop them from just setting up the same Excel spreadsheet
Yeah.
and execute every single sentence in Wikipedia becomes a 2 hour long deep dive about something, and it's like, how valuable will that time that I put in early be?
Mm.
Um, I get too ahead of myself. That's what stops me every single time because I'm like, where's the longevity? And I think it's going to be hyper. Well, it's ourselves as something that we're passionate about, right? Like
Hmm.
something I care about deeply. I'm going, even my slop will not be slop if I care about it deeply because I'm going to find, I'm going to know that this is slop. If, as a newcomer in Texas history, if I start making the biography of Davy Crockett and I haven't read any Davy Crockett biographies, I'm going to take the first thing that comes out and think, that's amazing. But there's 100 more just like it. But whenever I bring my own, did you know, uh, facts that I've found from obscure sources that the AI would never bother to put in because it's just not well known, unless I say find obscure things. Um, anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be very, very surface level. So, what are you going to build next? What's the next big project?
that's a good question. I have a few ideas, but the nothing's fully hashed out yet. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, we're talking about making an Alamo short film. I do it when doing it with my son. Sitting down prompting with him is
Hmm.
educational for him and for me because I'm learning more about the ability to get what we want, but we're directing what happens on the screen shot by shot, and also have but the patience involved with the iterations of each shot.
Hmm.
Oh man, they burst through the door, but why would they burst through the door from that direction? It
Hmm.
doesn't make sense. And he's like the voice of reason because he knows when something doesn't smell right and he's going to call it out. But I'm just happy with the result. I'm just like, well, it looks good enough. It's cool, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, no, the costume's wrong. He wasn't wearing this in this one, or in like all these details that I don't even pay attention to as much as he did. And I'm like, okay, he's really hyper aware of these details and he knows the limitations. So it's fun going through it. My daughter wanted to make a game similar to the Alamo game that we made, um, but just us sitting there waiting for the code to finish was almost enough to like make her want to give up. And then when it finally came out and it wasn't good, it was a huge disappointment. And I was like, well, we got to go back to the drawing board and we got to tell it what we want to change. And she sat with me. She's only 8, but she sat with me and we were just sitting there looking at the Claude, how it changed. Like it was like thinking, ruminating, and she would just be reading those over and over. We could have been doing something else, but we were very focused. And yeah, so those little projects, I'm just going to continue doing those. I might do another version of. I want to finish the Texas the history album. It's going to be a country music thing rather than a rap. And I just
Like jelly roll in this? Is that?
yeah, I mean, I like a lot of stuff, spanning genres, And
I
then
love
there needs to be a cash flow. If there's a Cash Flow Chronicles Volume 1, there needs to be a Cash Flow Chronicles Volume 2.
volume two.
And
I
this one's
mean,
about,
that's the thing too, right? You can just experiment in every genre. You can have the opera version, and
yeah. And I'm not sure how that's, yeah. And does it does it give back to the world? I don't know. Does it do anything for anyone? I don't know.
does it do anything for you, man? I think that's all that matters.
It did. It's like it exists. It didn't exist before. I'm happy. Um, yeah, I'm happy. It's that's all there is to it. I
I
love
just
that for people. Like people are going to be able to use this to make stuff that they want to make, and it's going to get easier and easier. So we'll see a lot more diverse ideas coming down the pike. You know, there's going to be a lot of whenever the real creatives come on and start to accept that it's a tool. Um, I'm excited to see what comes out, and I've yet to see the first like AI film that's actually good. It's not happening yet. You know,
no, no,
uh,
it hasn't happened yet. It's coming.
and it may just be components too. You know, it's like there won't be any like this is AI, this is not AI. There's going to be chunks of it that are, and they're going to use what's.
Yeah,
And eventually, I'm sure it will all be done that way.
yeah. I heard as you were saying some of that. I actually heard the outro music is the perfect outro for our conversation. As you were saying that.
Oh yeah, do we need to wrap it up? What was that?
We have time. We don't need to, but it was like I love it. Like the love lines were like perfect for the end of a podcast. Yeah, it's so weird, man. Like I don't even know. I mean that it's. I mean, part of it's like just trying to survive, right? Just like how can I use these tools to make money and survive? And then it's like how do I do it? How do I actually get the creative fulfillment out of it? Because to do anything well, right, like takes time, you know. So I've been lucky enough to carve out some time for these little short projects and things. And then I'm like, well, shit, I gotta get an editor because I can't edit. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
is it worth me spending, you know, however much an editor is for my side projects? And I'm like, that's why I feel
Mm-hmm.
like you build up a body of work after a while. Like the body of Steve experiments is kind of interesting. Like if you looked at one video here or there, that's like you know you might be like, what the hell is he doing? But when you look at the body and the progression, to me, it's interesting at least.
Yeah. Is it on? It says Steve Experiments.
On my yeah, but yeah, my YouTube
Oh,
has
it's
just
under YouTube. Okay.
yeah, YouTube is where most of the YouTube and TikTok. My TikTok, I actually got. I now have a viral thing going where AI Steve reviews fake restaurants.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
so, and I get people that are mad that they
Oh,
don't
okay. I
exist.
saw a couple of little Sora experiments on that when you were doing on Sora or something, right? Did you do that in the Sora?
Yeah, I've
Maybe it was
done.
awesome.
Yeah, I do all those in Sora just because it looks so real. As long as you get the watermark out of the way. Um, but that's like God, Sora is so frustrating because you just run out of credits so fast and it's so slow. But when it
For
hits, it
sure.
hits.
I've spent a lot of money. Like my wife's my bookkeeper, and she started like asking, you know, what is this AI Ultra? What is this ChatGPT Pro? You know, these are like not cheap. And in a way, it's like, and like I'm like, that's education. Like that's the same as me, you know, because if I try to experiment with something and play with
Yeah,
some shots, I was trying to do like a Moby Dick remake trailer. Like, what if there was a Moby Dick?
yeah,
And I had to like, and I was out of credits in no time. And I plus I wanted to get the latest and the greatest, the pro, because I'm not gonna spin my wheels over here. But yeah, like it's like you have to pay to play, and so there's a little barrier to entry there. But yeah, it's an educational expense in my opinion. You know, there's a few production things I can do, but for the most part, it can get very pricey um, for some
and
people.
I always end up because we've done a couple of like hybrid AI productions where like we turned some executives into Avengers,
Hmm.
uh, and we turned some other people into we turned the Texas Realtors into Olympians. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like anytime I'm on a deadline is when I run out of credits, right? Then I'm like, oh shit, I got to re up the credits and spend, you know. And anytime there's and then it's crazy.
of
But yeah, I'm
course.
probably $200 on the GPT, whatever the Google is. Was that 200, 250 for Ultra? Um, I need to get rid of Runway. I'm kind of over Runway at this point. I haven't really used it.
Yeah, I downgraded my runway, um, and it's not because of runway; it's because of my time.
Yeah,
It's just there's just too many things to do. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
like.
just happy they exist.
Yeah, I use Flow, Google Flow a lot too. Is kind of my engine for Veo and Nano Banana.
That's what I was using for Moby Dick.
That's
Um,
pretty. Have you seen the new Kling?
I have. I've seen examples. I logged in and did a couple, but yeah, it's
They've
all
got.
so good.
It's so good. Their new Canvas tool is like just. I don't like those typically like the nodal creator things, but the Kling one kind of had some prompts built in where they're like, just give me 8 camera angles from this shot stuff that it just like spits it out. So I'm like, oh man, I haven't had the time to sit with it and figure out how it works and be creative with it.
Yeah. You were saying earlier about the whole like um, build in public,
Yeah,
and this is the time to do that. I it's because all of this stuff is we are just spinning our wheels, seeing what comes out the other end. And I'm trying to like well, part of me like it's just like, I mean, I need to do that more of that. I need to
yeah,
show my half-assed, half-finished stuff. Maybe it'll benefit someone because I see it all the time. I
yeah,
Someone's like, I made, this is the new cling and here's what you can do with it. And then and I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. Oh, that's cool. And it actually gives me a little bit of like anxiety, because I'm like, how I wish I could just jump in there and
yeah,
make something. And then I, scroll the next one. It's like, it's been out for 24 hours and people are already doing insane things with it, like look at 5 examples, 10 examples. And you're just like, oh, you know, I want that to be me.
yeah,
And then you get in there and you do something and you're like, well, shoot, that was just the demo. Like that literally took 2 seconds. These people who posted this are not some geniuses. Like that's a default effect. Like,
yeah,
okay, wonderful. And the whole Higgs field thing, that's like where the word studio concept comes from because they're really successful. I don't know how successful they are because in terms of their financials, but and the API credits, but I will say that the like Korea, I believe, did it
yeah,
where they do the templates and it's like smash something and to be on like put something inside of on a press or have something blow up like a balloon and it's like just such sloppy basic AI stuff,
yeah.
but looks cool. It's novelty, and I'm like, wow, that's the majority of people, including myself, enjoy that instant gratification. Like, hey, I made my head blow up. That's cool. Um, and you get your little satisfaction out of it, and you move on.
My wife's over it. The kids are over it. They don't care anymore. They're like, oh yeah, Grandpa's head exploded again. Who cares?
But there's millions of people who just never have done it because it looks complex. Because you look at the examples and you're like, oh man, how do you do that? I've had people just applaud me like, how awesome! How did you do that? I'm like, I literally just pushed a button and
Push the button. I
I
typed
can't
it.
take any credit for it. I just am showing you that was the basic idea I had, and this thing did it.
This is
Um,
it. Actually,
so
so I started prompting in Kling in poetry to see about the filters, and so I would put a series of images written in haiku. So you give it like 10 haiku and just see what it does. It's pretty freaking cool. Like that's the only time I'm like, I can't produce that. I cannot not replicate that shot in the real world.
interesting.
I can only but it's not the new Kling model won't do it. It's only the last Kling 2.6 or whatever. So it's like
Weird.
the more refined the models get, the less artistic they become.
I've heard this about GPT and its creative writing and
Oh,
all that stuff.
Claude, I find Claude to be a pretty good writer, but yeah, GPT has been bad, just bad.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do a lot of writing anymore with it. Um, of course, the articles and little things like that are fun to play with. I just find that, like, if I don't, the people who automate, let's go scrape some news, put a thing in there. I mean, they're doing great. I'm sure they're doing fine. I mean, it's awesome to have automation in terms of like putting out content that you think is going to do well.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting was I made for Word Studio. I had written some early articles with some old AI models and just about things that were relevant to Word Studio. Like I had some article that was breaking down log lines from different movies because I had a log line generator,
Mhm.
and I put it in there. I had my insult generator was like the most popular tool by far on the website, in addition to the rap generator. But the insult generator, um, I was like, how to write a roast speech. So I did a whole like article on where roasts originally came from, all the details. Just it was an SEO play, and it was kind of fascinating anyway. And I didn't see many sources where someone had like really broken down like the history of the roast and the components of a good roast, like in Comedy Central's roasts and all that stuff. And um, well, it shows up in Grokpedia as a source, and like quite a few Word Studio articles were the source. I'm like, that was an AI written article that wasn't necessarily researched. I looked it over and it sounded plausible, and I'm not going to sit here and say I just published something without proofreading it, because there was a lot of proofreading done, but there could have been things in there that
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And that's just that, sue me. I don't know. But the fact that the these other websites, they do the deep research articles and then republish those haphazardly, and then those have references and sources at the bottom, and I'm getting link backs to my blogs from these other ones that I know these guys didn't, or gals did not even care. It was some automated system where they just popped it on there for SEO benefit.
Yeah.
So it just became this like, it's that dead internet thing where it's just proliferating, and then at some point it's going to be like, what is truth?
AIAF is a production of Talentless AI. Your host is Steve Mudd. Edited by Dakota Seed. Music and graphics were generated using AI.